Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you are. This is the Central Florida Computer Society and the Sarasota Technology User Group, Windows Special Interest Group, or WinSIG, for Sunday, May 12th, 2024. I'm Huey Poplock, and I'm glad you're here. And we meet the second Sunday of every month, or just about anyway. We've been doing so for 30 or so years. Not all of you have been with me this long, but there are a few of you who've been around off and on over the 30 some odd years, and we're glad you're here. We're going to cover several things, and as usual, let me go ahead and share my screen. And this is my website, and the WinSig is here at the top. But before we do that, I want to come down here a little bit, and I'm asking for some support. You know that a lot of you know that I'm having problems with Zoom on my main computer, which is powerful enough, and it should not have any issues. And I'm having issues with, especially with Zoom, with it getting out of sync and just all kinds of problems. So it's time for a new computer. And I, frankly, to be honest with you, can't afford it. So I'm asking for some support from you. So if you go to my page and click on support me on coffee, if you'll just go ahead and just buy a cup of coffee or two or three or however many you want and help me get a new computer. I'm looking for $1,200 additional dollars. I do have some already. And I'm looking probably to spend in the $2,000 range. I need a high-end machine that I can do the video editing and I can do the Zoom meetings and other classes and recordings and so on. And with all the AI stuff that I'm doing, I want to make sure that I have enough power for all of that. So that requires an NVIDIA card, which runs a few $100 or more. And so I'm asking for some support from you. If you feel you get something out of what I do, I would appreciate it. All right, but let's go to the WinSig and get started for today. And these are the items, and I post them every month, usually anywhere from a week to a few days before the meeting. Sometimes I even update them after that. So you'll see, here's the ones for today. Here's the ones for last month. And then right after that is a link to the video for last month's meeting. So if you missed it and would like to watch it, by all means, you can do that. There's marches, and then there's the March recording. So by all means, utilize the website. I keep it updated, and all of the items that I'm going to cover are there. So if we cover something and we don't get into the detail that you would like, or you want to get that information and take a look at it, you can go back to this page and click on the link, and it'll take you to the articles that we cover. First one's going to be on Windows 11 24H2 update. Brings a wealth of new features. Now, this is Windows 24H2, which will be later this year. But you know what? We're well into 5 months of the year, so later this year is not that far away. By all means, we want to take a look at that. Now, this laptop that I have is only at 22H2, and that expires the end of June. And so, and it won't update automatically to 23H2. So I'm going to try to do it manually. I've been afraid to do it because I don't want to break this computer, because at least I got one that I can do my meetings with. So I am going to do it. And somebody else mentioned, I think it was Jolin, that hers is at 22H2. But there are some ways around it. And I think I've got an article somewhere, but I don't have it listed here. But anyway, this is 24H2 that's coming, that was going to be, some people thought it was going to be Windows 12, but it's going to be 24H2. Let's take a look at what some of the things are that they're going to cover. Some of the major enhancements will be Windows will run on ARM enhancements. The update includes optimizations for the ARM processor. So not only will it run on Intel and run on the AMD Ryzen chips and so on, it's going to run on the ARM processor as well, coinciding with the release of Snapdragon X Elite, a 12-core processor designed for notebooks. And there's also user interface improvements. Changes include updates to context menu, where icons now come with text labels, and the ability to create and manage zip and tar archives directly from the context menu. In other words, you're going to be able to you're going to have a lot of changes, so you got to learn a whole bunch of new stuff just to run the latest version. Some other new features is going to be power and sleep setting. Users will be able to manage power settings more directly through the Windows settings, improving ease of access. So that's obviously for laptops. But the sleep settings will be on both laptop and desktop. Quick setting customization enhancements to the quick settings panel allow for more customization. Network diagnostics, I'm looking forward to that. To diagnose network problems will be part of it. Command line enhancements, hardware requirements. The new features have specific hardware requirements. These are not mandatory for running the operating system, but are necessary to utilize certain functionalities. And a lot of the AI stuff may require some hardware that we don't have in most of our computers. And that's one of the things I'm going to try to make sure that I have the ability with the new computer to have the ability to run AI a lot better than I can now. And then there'll be future features, anticipated features include the use of phones as webcams, support for USB 4, and AI-driven capabilities like super resolution and voice clarity, although some may not be ready at the time of the initial release. And so this article, you can see where it's Windows 12 is crossed off and it's made 24H2. And then empowering users with new features. As I mentioned, the power and sleep settings, quick setting customization, and network diagnostics. And that's pretty much that for that article. Let's go ahead and we'll close that. Come back here. Now, 13 important Windows settings to change the settings that you need to change immediately. Let me do the immersive reader, which I forgot to do in the last one. After installing Windows 11, you should check on some settings and adapt them to your needs and streamline its uses. So there are 13 items listed here. Get Windows Pro for cheap, Windows 11 Pro, and that's it's $200. But I'm not sure if that was one of them or not. Customize Explorer, show file extensions and drives. This is always Mike and I have always said this is one thing that Microsoft always had as a default to have the extensions not showing for most file names. And I think that's the most important thing to have them turned on. So you want to make sure you do turn them on. One of the first things you do when you get a new computer, a Windows computer. So instead of important doc.exe, for instance, it's actually an exe file. But if it doesn't have the extension, it's going to say .doc. So, and there's a lot of other things too. But so you really want to have those extensions on. You can also find the setting in other Windows versions in the folder options under View, and then hide extensions for known file types. And that's by default. You want to turn that off. So you deactivate it. Customize Windows Update. Get updates faster. After updating to Windows 11 or installing the operating system, you should first go to Windows Update in the settings, and you should make sure that the message "You are up to date" appears in the upper area. Click on Check for Updates and make sure that all updates are installed. Windows also updates the malware protection definition files in this way as well. So it's going to, you want to make sure it says you're up to date, and then click on Check for Updates to make sure that this is accurate. And if it, and you want to do it not while you're in the middle of a presentation, you want to do it when it's convenient to do the update, because it'll start right away. Foundry, it can also be useful to activate the option "Get the latest updates as soon as they are available." This ensures that your Windows system receives updates faster than other users. And that is, let's see, and it's right here, "Get the latest updates as soon as they're available." You should have that turned on. Okay, important optimize malware protection settings for drivers. And after installing Windows 11, open the Windows Security app from the Start menu, and you should see a green icon with a tick next to all of the settings. And if this is not the case, check the area by clicking on the relative icon. And that would be here. There should be a little check next to each of these items. If it's not, then you may want to turn those on. You want to check to read them first to see if that's what you want to do.
Huey, can I suggest something, please?
Sure.
Where it says confirm or not now, you're setting Microsoft Edge as your default browser. If you'll click not now, you gain about 10% on your screen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's it. Click.
Yep. Sorry about that. I got
Sure.
so many things on my screen that you can't see. I didn't know you could see that, and I hadn't read it. So,
yep. Thank you.
thank you. Okay, adjust virus and threat protection. In the Windows Security app, you should switch to virus and threat protection after installation. Click on Manage Settings under Virus and Threat Protection Settings and make sure that all options are switched on here, primarily real-time protection, cloud-based protection, and automatic transmission of samples. And that's here. If you're not using the built-in antivirus in Windows and are using a third party, you want to make sure that you've got it set up correctly. And but if you're not using any of those, use the Microsoft antivirus, which is also very good. Download protection updates for malware scanner, and then check Windows activation. When I was looking to install Windows on my main computer, the one I'm having all the trouble with, and I went to install it from scratch and just save the data and not any of the settings. The first thing it asked for was the product key. Well, you know what? It asked because it doesn't recognize the product key, and it should, but that computer originally came with Windows 10, and I did and it was a third-party Windows, and so it wasn't on the motherboard. And when I updated to Windows 11, it just carried it on. I did find, I think it was Bellark was able to give me the actual key, the product key for my Windows, and I made sure I not only jotted it down, but I put it in my password manager. So if I do run into that, I have my product key for my Windows. Are all the drivers installed? And use this command right here, which you enter in the search field of the taskbar to see whether all the drivers are installed. If unknown or other devices are still displayed here, you should obtain the latest driver. And to do that, I will do a copy, and then we're going to put it down here in the search box. and press enter. Whoops. And there's no glaring errors there. So I probably have all the drivers I need. So that's good. Professionals still activate drive encryption. And let's see, Windows 11 Pro. Oh, again, they're trying to sell you that. And that's the end of that article. So let's pause here for a moment and stop the share. See any comments, questions? Mike, you have your hand raised. Unmute yourself.
There we go. Yeah, turn on the mic. I put two items in chat, which people can see, and it all relates in part to what you're talking about, Windows Update. The first thing I always do is I don't let Windows do updates automatically. I want to turn them on myself, and I want to have an image backup of my hard drive that has Windows installed prior to updating, just in case, as recently happened to me, one of the updates either can't be installed or messes something up. And then related to that is making a restore point, which has been pointed out in your presentations in the past. By default, Windows 11, bless their little black hearts, Microsoft, has making restore points disabled by default. So you want to go to the control panel under make a restore point and at least let it work automatically when it wants to. And again, prior to the time that I do updates, I make a restore point. Well worth doing.
Good point. Okay, Steve, your hand is up.
Yeah, that one entry that was right underneath the updates thing, checking for updates, the one that had the megaphone thing about it getting the latest updates and all this crap. You want to make damn sure that is turned off. If you turn it on, you've just become a beta tester for the latest Windows garbage that comes out. So unless you want to be a tester for the latest stuff that they throw at you, you want to make sure that one's turned off.
Yeah, but you're using the term beta tester and the fact that they are releasing it. It's not a beta version, but there's still a lot of things aren't finished or don't always work right. It's not really the beta version. So
No.
so you're saying be careful. That's what Mike just said as well.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
you'll get all the security stuff, but all the stuff that they're still throwing out for people to find bugs in, that's what that'll give you.
Yeah, and changes and so on. Walter,
But
you have your hand up.
that was
Oh, I'm
that
sorry.
was one
Hang
of
on.
that
Go
was
ahead,
one of
Steve.
the things with the difference between the pro version and the home version was that the home version throws all that stuff out at you whether you want it or not, but the pro version delays all that stuff coming out until the people with the home version have tested it and it's stable. And then if you've got the pro version, then it'll give you that.
Okay, thanks, Steve. Walter, your hand is up.
Yeah, going through this article the other day, I think it was yesterday, I noticed if I go to security and then click on privacy and security and then try and click on Windows security, absolutely nothing happens. And I'm not really sure how to get around that or how to check things. I can't open Defender or anything.
I'm not sure. Maybe somebody here will have an idea. Jalen, you're next.
Yeah, you had mentioned, I'm not sure about his problem. I got to think about that for a little bit. That's a little
Can you get
strange.
closer to your mic?
Yes, I can get closer to the mic. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay, good. The other thing is, I don't like to have my face. Okay. You had mentioned Bellark, and that is such a terrific little tool. I put the link to the download in the chat. It is a tool that examines your system and tells you everything you need to know about it, including license keys. and space and so. I mean, it's a really Huey helped me here. I don't know how else to describe it, but I love it and I use it on every single machine I come across.
Right. It allows you to get the information you're not going to get anywhere else. And especially if you're changing a computer, updating a computer, you want to make sure that you have a list of all of the apps that you have installed and what keys. In most cases, it does have the keys to them, and you can either print that out or make it a file and then save it in your backup or in the cloud somewhere. So if you need it, it's there and you've got that information.
Yeah, it definitely helps with all of that stuff. It creates an HTML page, a web page with this information on it. So you can either print the page, or what I do is I have a Bellarc folder, and every single time I run it, if I install something new, if something changes on my system, every new system I get, I run Bellarc, and I run it very often to help some of the folks at the computer club too. So it's really good information and simple and straightforward, and it's helpful.
Yeah, it's one of the
Yeah,
many tools that you should have in your arsenal.
yeah, it's about as necessary as everything and all the other utilities on that essential
Okay.
tools box.
Okay, there's several items in the chat. Make sure you save the chat and do take a look at the items that are there. Let's go ahead and share my screen again. And go to the next article. How to convert and open HEIC files on Windows. I don't know if you're familiar with HEIC files, but there are picture files that when you save on an iPhone or an iPad, that's the extension that you get. And so if someone sends you a file and it has that extension, they can read it fine on their iPad or iPhone, but you may not be able to read it on your Windows machine. And there are several ways in which you can convert and open them. Now, I checked with this computer thinking that it was not set to be able to read it, and sure enough, it did. So I can't show you what happens when you don't have one of the systems that we're going to talk about, but let's take a look. How to open HEIC files in Windows. One is you install the HEIF image extension. And where you get that is go to the Microsoft Store. And go to the, I had looked for it and it was there. It's the HEIF extensions and click install. Now, I don't know why on this computer I'm able to read them unless in one of the recent updates, Microsoft has made it part of Windows. So if you're having trouble with it, that's one of the ways in which you can read those files. And
What
let's go
program
back.
did you use to view it before you updated to the extension?
I'm sorry, say that.
That HEIC file, you said you were able to view it before you added the extension. What
Yeah,
application?
on this computer, and I don't know why.
What
But
application did you use to view it with?
I just click on it. It's probably VLC, and maybe that
Yeah,
has the that's
VLC.
I have the extension in it.
Yeah, VLC has the codec for
Yeah, yeah.
HEIC.
But a lot of people will
Some
contact
photos.
me and say, somebody sent me a picture and I can't open it. Well, the reason why is they don't have they either are not using VLC or they haven't put the extension in on their Windows. Now, you can use Microsoft Photos as well, and then you can convert to with online tools. And let me show you what I mean by that. Is what I do is in the search box, I put let's see, did I hit it? No, HEIC to JPEG. And I do this anytime I need to convert something to JPEG or something like that. I just put it in like this. And there's free convert and HEIC online, cloud convert. I'm looking for the one that I usually use and I'm not seeing it right away. But there are a lot of them there. But let's go to the first one because it's not an advertisement. And we'll click on it. And what you do is you choose the file from the device, or you can just drag it in there, and then you tell it you want to apply it, and then download the JPEG. And there are several of them there that you can do that with, and so that's one of the ways in which I do a lot of these things. Any conversion. And then there are some third-party software like the VLC that you can open it with it, and then in VLC, then you can change it. I'm sorry, save it as a JPEG, and it will save it for you. So if you're getting those files, or you know somebody is and they don't know what to do with them, now you know.
Huey, this is Bill.
Yeah, Bill.
Windows Photos has the codec built in for the HEIC files. It'll open them in Windows 11.
Yeah, that article did say that. Yeah. The Windows Photos, Microsoft Photos. Thank you, Bill. How to remove section breaks in Word. I just put this in because I had saved it, and not all of you use Word, but if you have section breaks, this article will tell you how to remove them. Sometimes you'll get somebody's Word document and there's some breaks in there and you don't know how to get rid of them. And you can, this article will tell you how. So in other words, something for your arsenal if you use Word. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is ARC. Before I go to ARC, let's go ahead and stop the share, see if there's any other comments or questions. And I get to see that you're not going to sleep on me. So any comments, questions? Just go ahead.
Bill again. I was going to just ask the question. Is not the HEIC files going to eventually replace the JPEG? Is that the intent?
I don't know, and I'm not sure what they are. But the only one that by default is using them is Apple. So I don't know if it's a better quality or what the purpose of it is. Murray, you have your hand up. Is that what you're going to answer, or is it something else? You're muted, Murray.
I was just going to add that it was that HEIC is basically the Apple format.
Yeah.
They have used it for a long time. And a lot of programs, if you like, I use GIMP, which is a free open source, very powerful photo editor. And if you open an HEIC file in that, you can then save it as any kind you want.
But
now, the only reason why, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Bill.
The only reason why I brought that up, I'm trying to think, it seems that I read that the JPEG files were going to be replaced by another format, or at least they were moving towards that. And I for some reason, my memory fails me to where I read that, but was something what was my understanding. And I was just asking if anyone else had noted that.
No, I haven't.
JPEG is a proprietary format, and there are websites that will not accept a JPEG image, but the replacement is PNG on all systems other than Apple.
Thank you, Tim. I think that's correct. That's what I remember hearing.
Okay. Yeah, I use them. The thing I like about PNGs is if you do erase the background, you can, with PNGs, it will stay erased, where on a JPEG, you'll get a single color background and it won't be erased. And see, there was one other thing that I wanted to add and I lost my train.
Yeah,
That
the reason for that with the PNG is it supports transparency, whereas the JPEGs don't.
Yeah, yep,
And GIF files have transparency as well.
yeah. I know what I was going to say is that a PowerPoint doesn't use HEIC files. So if you want to put in uh, and it's not only HEIC, what's the other one that I have trouble with? Oh, the WebP files, WEBP extension. A lot of things I download from online have that as an extension for the graphic, and a lot of programs won't use that, and so I use one of the free conversions for that as well. Murray, you have your hand up.
Yeah, this is a question while we're on the topic of images. One thing that I noticed, I downloaded a JPEG file from my Google Photos, and when I downloaded it to my computer, it was 4,000 by 3,000 according to the information, but it was only 647K in size. I opened it with GIMP, and it magically was now 4,000 by 3,200 and was about 6.5 megabytes instead of 640K. And that happens to be the size that I actually uploaded. I wondered if anybody knows what's going on. I imagine if Chris were here, she would know, but I don't know if she's here or not.
Well, I do
Anybody
know
else
that
knows?
I do know that Google Photos does make the files smaller for storage purposes. Now,
Yeah.
I didn't know that you might retrieve them from and get the original. I think that's only because it may have been on your system.
No, it wasn't. It was, I mean, it was after when I downloaded it, the size of the file is only 647K.
Right, that's what Google does that.
Yeah, I know, but what astounded me was that when I opened it with GIMP and exported it as another JPEG file, it now had different dimensions. It was 3,200 by 4,000 by 3,200 instead of 4,000 by 3,000, and it was the original. The one that I downloaded said it was 3,000 by 4,000 and 185 DPI. When I loaded it into GIMP, it became 4,000 by 3,200, 300 DPI, which is the size of the file that I actually originally uploaded. Which
Okay, I don't know GIMP, so I don't know what it's doing, but that it is surprising. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
I just couldn't believe it.
Okay, Bill, your next question.
Does Bell Arc work on Windows 11?
Does what? I'm sorry.
Bell Arc, the
Yes,
Yes,
Yes.
works
okay.
on.
I didn't think it did.
Oh, definitely it does.
Before.
absolutely.
Okay, great. I'm glad to hear that.
Well, that's what we're here for, to answer those questions.
Yes.
All right, let's go back and learn about ARC. I've been trying to figure it out all week. Let me go back to sharing my screen.
I'm glad I didn't try it until I see your presentation today.
Well, I'm not going to give you a lot either because I'm still in the process. It's quite different. So ARC on Windows. ARC has been available as an iOS on iPads and on iPhones, and I believe on Mac, but it has not been available on Android or on Windows. I think the Android is still coming. No, I think I'm running it on my, no, that was my iPad. I tried it. I don't know whether there's an Android version yet or not, but the Windows version was just released in the last couple of weeks. So let's take a look at what it is. Arc is the Chrome replacement that I've been waiting for. That's not my words. There's Arc for Mac, Arc for Windows 11. The Windows 10 version is coming. It's not out yet. And let's see, a browser that doesn't just meet your needs, it anticipates them. Interesting choice of words. Space for the different sides of you. And let's go ahead and I don't have the ability to do to make it bigger with this. And then your browser your way and the comfort of privacy. So this is their page. So let's go to the next article to find out more about it. And the Arc browser arrives on Windows to take on Chrome and Edge. And now this one we can do the immersive reader. The Arc browser arrives on Windows to take on Chrome and Edge, the Arc browser, and there it is again. Arc on Windows also represents an important milestone in getting Apple's Swift apps running on Microsoft's OS. And let's see, share the story. The excellent Arc browser that's been impressing Mac OS and iOS users over the past couple of years is finally making its way to Windows today. The Arc is designed to change the way you use a browser in many fundamental ways. If you don't like change, you're not going to like Arc. With a collapsible sidebar that combines vertical tabs and bookmarks into an app switcher-like experience, a command bar for navigation, and useful tools to help you browse the web. The company behind Arc, aptly named the Browser Company, is betting on its browser being different enough to entice Windows users away from the Chrome and Edge. Arc, excuse me for a moment. Arc really is just calming and keeps you organized, says Hirsch Agrawal, co-founder of the Browser Company, in an interview with The Verge. It helps you handle your tasks during the day better. As someone who is hooked on Chrome, it's been jarring but rewarding experience to use Arc. Once you get used to the Arc way of doing things, the idea of a sidebar instead of a row of tabs, or just the ability to remove all of the browser clutter and focus on a single website feels like a refreshing approach to the way we use the web today. And so on. I'm not going to read this whole thing to you. Number one, my voice won't last. I got to get a cough drop. The water didn't help. The voice, my throat just dried up on me. It must be the air conditioner coming back on. For all the impressive underpinnings of Arc, it still needs to be good enough to go against Chrome. And let's see what else it says here. If there's anything else here important. And let's go to the next article. 5 ways the Arc browser makes browsing easier. Again, let's do the immersive reader. And this author says, I've used just about every web browser that's ever been made an appearance on the market, and have experienced some rather interesting browsers that wound up being more gimmick than anything as a result. I've also used some stripped down browsers that did nothing but render web pages, and even a few command line browsers. I used it for a few days and set it aside, and then I decided to give it another try. And wowzers, I'm glad I did. Arc is fantastic web browser, and although it may not be perfect, it sure does put the fun back into web browsing. Spaces. For the longest time, I claimed Opera had the best tab management on the market with workspaces, but Arc proved me wrong. Arc uses spaces and it functions very similarly to Opera's workspaces with a twist. Arc not only allows you to create different spaces to hold related tabs, but it also allows you to theme each space. Although this might sound more form than function, it does actually help quite a bit. Consider the scenario, you have 5 or 6 spaces and you want to always make sure specific tabs live in the right location and that you're always able to quickly know which space you're in. You could give one space a yellow theme, one a green theme, and one a blue theme, and so on. But that's not all. You can also rename spaces, give spaces specific icons, and even turn a space into a folder for backup purposes. I didn't think it was possible to beat Opera's Workspaces tab and management features, but Arc certainly has. And then favorites for each space, you'll find a vertical tab pane. And at the top of that pane is a favorite section where you can drag a tab or whatever you want. Now, I haven't learned how to do a lot of this stuff, but I have seen what some of it's doing. And then the user interface and then the library. And you can read that, but let's take a look at Arc. I've installed it on this computer. I did bring over some of my favorites from my other computer. As you can see down here. Now I don't see, I had spaces here and I'm not sure where they went. Oh, this is all space 1. Now I can add another space. You can also click on this and it'll take, just by clicking here, it takes me, it will take you to Gmail. I don't have it set up. I don't have it signed in, but one click and takes you to Gmail, and here one click will take you to your calendar. Again, I haven't set it up on this computer. I have it on my other one. And then under space 1, you can go to a website. Let's go to HEIC.net of all things, which you can see is just like any other browser. But what I can do is I can go to the WinSIG and I can click on this article and it'll open that article, and then I can tell it to split view. So what I've got now is my WinSIG there and the article here. So that split view is kind of neat. So if you're on a page where you got a lot of links like this, I can click on another one. When I do, it takes me back to here, and then I can tell it again that I want to do the split screen, and it's up here. I can add a right split or a left split. We'll do a left split. And then it asked me what do I want there, and we're going to do HEIC.net, and it's there, which I really like. So you don't have to have a bunch of tabs and so on, and then you can have the different tabs over here under spaces. All this is under one space because I didn't know how to handle this. And I probably brought too many links over, but I did want to have something, not knowing how to do it. But I can click on any of these, obviously. So your tabs are on the side, and you can go back and forth. So that's what Arc looks like. So you don't have tabs at the top. And let's go back and see what you have to say about Arc. Now, I didn't give you a real lesson in it. I'm still trying to figure it out, but it does look interesting.
It
And it
doesn't
looks
look like
easy
it
to
works
use.
on Linux yet. If and not sure they will.
Yeah, you're probably correct there. I also notice one of the things that I have to have in whatever browser I'm using is my web clipper for Evernote. And when I went to add it as a extension, it went and gave me the ability to put in any of the Chrome extensions. So it is Chromium based as far as the extensions go, and it does have some Chromium abilities within it. So I was able to do the web clipper for Evernote and have it in, and I'm able to use it as well, and probably any of the other extensions that I want to have. Tim.
Yeah, I learned about ARC, and I have it on at least three different Windows 11 systems. I'm still playing with it too, and it took me a short time to figure out how to put my extensions to the browser, but it's mostly getting used to the vertical tabs. Edge has it too, but I still use the top tabs. I wasn't too fond of vertical tabs in Edge, but this is using only the vertical ones, and it's something you have to get used to, like anything else. You either don't use it because you don't like the change, or you end up rolling with the punches. You don't have control over the software. If you did, you would be a software developer and you would have the source code and you could make the changes you prefer.
Thank you, Tim. Yeah, it's an interesting browser to say the least, but it does give us a little bit of a choice if you're and if you're an experimental type of person, you might want to try it. And you're going to be hearing more and more about it. So I wanted to at least give you an introduction to it. Murray, you're muted. You're muted, Murray.
Can you sync across multiple devices so that your bookmarks and all your passwords and all that transfer over from one to the other?
Yes, I did take and I can't remember how I did it. There is a special way to do it, but I did do it from my other computer to this one. That's how I got all those bookmarks over.
Okay, yeah. Well, of course, you can import the bookmarks from other browser.
That's
I just
correct.
want to make sure you could,
Yeah, but I got
especially
them.
do your passwords.
Yep.
Does it have a password manager built in?
Yes, I believe it does.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Seeing no more questions about it, let's go ahead and share again. And what I do, close it. If I close Edge, I must have, no, it's there. Here we go. All right, so let's close these up. 5 ways, let's see, 10 security tips your IT department wishes you would follow. I'm going to just go over it very briefly. These are just reminders. Most of you know all of these, but it doesn't hurt to remind you. Don't open links and emails that lead to a login screen. Don't click on anything that it says you paid for something or didn't pay for something. What you want to do is, if it's a particular website that you normally go to, don't click on it through the email. Go to the website directly so that you don't go to the wrong place and give away your information. Use strong passwords. Can't say that enough. Use two-factor authentication. And don't share them. And by don't sharing them, it's not talking about sharing them with other people. It's using the same password with more than one application or website. What happens is, and I was listening to, I think it was either Leo Laporte, no, it was Rich, who took over Leo Laporte's show. He was mentioning the fact that somebody was able to get into a Facebook account because they used the same password for Facebook as they did on one that got a breach. And what they'll do is once they get a password and a name, they'll keep trying it in all the different programs like Facebook, for instance, and see if you use the same name and password in that one. And they get in, and now they got your password. They can sign in. They can change your password on you. You can't even get into your own, and then they can do whatever they want with it. So please don't share your passwords. Have a different password for everything. And I know some people like this use a name and then they change just the number. You want to get out of the habit of that. They might be able to figure that out as well. Don't ignore Windows security prompts when you get a notice saying that you need to update some security things to it. Keep your work private and private life separate. What I've read and heard in a lot of news articles and blog posts and so on, if you have your business or your Quicken or your checkbook that you must keep up and that you don't want anyone to ever get access to, the best thing to do is have a second computer just to do that and not to use that same computer to go to the internet. And that's the best way, and the best way to keep any of that information from being shared or being broken into. Set a passcode on all of your devices. I don't know how many people that I've run into, I'm helping, and I go to their house. What's the password to get into your computer? I don't have one. What's the password to get onto your phone? I don't have one. Not a good idea, especially if it's a laptop computer, and especially if it's a phone that you carry around and could leave somewhere, or someone could grab it, or take it out of your pocket, or falls out of your pocket. All they have to do is open it and they got your whole world there. So by all means, have a strong passcode. If it does require a PIN, a 6-digit PIN is better than a 4-digit PIN. If someone asks for something out of the usual, check with them. If you get a note from one of your friends and they're asking for some money for an emergency, or they're trying to send you something that you don't know what it is, before you even click on anything, call them and say, did you send me a photo that, or did you send me an article for me to look at? Because if they didn't, and you click on it, you're liable to have gotten either malware or ransomware. Don't download strange software or attachments, or and never run macros. And then use antivirus and stay up to date with it. And learn how to use Windows and your other software and devices. And above all, don't panic. When you get a notice about something, they a lot of times they say you got to do this within 24 hours, or you're going to lose your website, or you're going to lose your Facebook page forever. And so you're in a panic mode, so you click on something rather than being calm and then get out of that email and then go sign into your Facebook page to see if there's an issue. So they rely on the fact that you get panicked and that you click on something and do something that you wouldn't otherwise do if you think about it. So that's that article. 23 Google Maps tricks that you need to try. Some really good ones here. unlock your directions. Instead of leaving Google Maps open while you go from point A to point B, you can see your route, estimated time of arrival, and upcoming turns. Let's see, I should do this. Upcoming turns on your lock screen with a feature called glanceable directions. To turn it on, open Google Maps, go to settings, and choose navigation on iOS or navigation settings on Android. Scroll down to find the glanceable directions while navigating and turn the slider on. As Lifehacker notes, they'll appear as system notifications on Android and live activities on iOS. And that's what you're seeing. Inside access, Google Maps isn't just for great outdoors. Some malls, airports, and other big buildings also have maps. By clicking them, and you can actually see what the inside of a mall and where stores are and so on. And the airport where the different gates are. Plot multiple locations on Google Maps. Rarely do car trips consist of going from point A to point B. More often, there's something like A to cafe, to library, to Joe's house, and then to B. Thankfully, Google makes it possible to anticipate real trips. To add multiple destinations in Google Maps mobile app, enter your starting point and your ultimate destination, then click the three-dot menu at the top right corner. This prompts for a popover menu with the option to add stop. Click that and you can create a route with multiple stops. You can even drag and drop stops within your itinerary. Note this doesn't work when you're using mass transit option. Customize your vehicle icon. You can change what the vehicle looks like. Hey Google, where am I going? You might want to interact with maps while you're driving, but you don't want to take your eyes off the road. So by saying OKG, because my phone is answering me now, a voice command in the Google Maps Android app, you don't have to. For example, if you notice you're running low on gas, say OKG, find gas stations, and it'll show you gas stations on the map, which you can look at when you come to a red light or pull over. You can also ask questions like, what's my next turn? What's my ETA? And so on. And you can access Google Maps offline, and this tells you how to do it. Get your groceries, let other people drive, find accessible transit routes and locations, change the font size on your maps, and remember where you parked. I always take a picture of the sign closest to where my car is, take a picture of my car in the space. I usually take 2 or 3 pictures so I can avoid what happened to me one time when I went to Miami and went to a conference there. I parked in one of the public garages that had multiple levels that were slanted. So as you went up each one, the cars all looked the same. And I probably spent close to an hour till I finally found my car. So you want to avoid that if possible. And what's parking sitch? Google Maps can provide a turn-by-turn directions based on live-ish traffic data, but it can also provide you with a glimpse of the parking situation. When you search for driving directions to a location on iOS or Android, you might see a P logo at the bottom of the screen along with one of 3 designations: limited, medium, and easy, plus on-site for retailers with large parking lots. This can help you decide how much time you'll need to allocate for parking or either whether another form of transportation might be a better option. And then share your location and view and delete your Google Maps history. And then you can go incognito. So it's a good article. And then time travel with Google Maps. I did a whole video on that where you can look at a location and then see what was there 2 years ago, 4 years ago, and so on. And then add some music. Okay, Marilyn, I will stop the share and we'll see what your question is here. Hang on a moment. Okay, Marilyn, your hand is up.
Hi. I don't understand the glanceable directions. What is that?
I believe that as you move, the map changes, so you're always looking in one direction. I think that's what that means. Let's go back and see what it says. Share and share. Let's see where the glanceable directions was. I think it was around the first one, wasn't it?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, it appears to be that what it allows is for if your phone is off, so you have the lock screen, or if your in-car view screen overview, it allows you to see the route without having to open the app itself. So if you
Okay.
set directions, like I'll set directions at home and then get into the car, connect my phone to my Android Auto, and Google Map comes up. But if it doesn't have to, I don't have to open the map app. The map app. I don't have to open it.
Okay, and I'm not finding here quickly here, but basically what you're saying is you can see the map with the phone off and tell where you're supposed to go.
Yeah, basically that's it.
Yeah. Okay, good. I
Yeah,
hope
one of the
that-
problems I have with using the phone on the Apple phone as a GPS, the screen will go blank when I start driving because it has detected that
Yeah.
I'm driving, and I can't see it anymore. And I have to lie to it and push a button say that I'm not driving.
Okay, so let's go back to the share. We got two more articles that I think might answer some questions for you that you may have had. Let me share. And we'll close this. And they have to do with Zoom. Zoom Workplace is here. If when you start Zoom, it should say Zoom Workplace instead of just Zoom. If so, you've updated to version 6.0 or up. It's up to 0.4. I think it's 6.0.4 or that's what it is. And there's a lot of changes in what it looks like. So let's see, this article is from Zoom itself. And let's see if we can do the immersive reader. There's some videos that I'm not going to play because I don't know if I have the right to do that. But dispersed teams and disconnected collaboration tools have created unwanted complexity in the workplace. So I'm not going to read this whole thing, but let's see if it tells us. And another one, Zoom Workplace, another video here. What to know about the new Zoom Workplace. Okay, there's a simplified navigation. We simplified the navigation bar at the top to make it easier for you to organize and find what tabs you use most often. You can drag and drop tabs in the order that you prefer. And you can combine meetings in calendar view. So I don't use the meetings in calendar view. And let's see, there's some new color themes that you can use. And there's a customizable meeting toolbar. In meetings, you'll see a simplified toolbar where you can turn on AI Companion, share your screen and documents. You can find host tools. You can customize the toolbar by dragging and dropping items, including from the More menu into place. So if things are in your More, you can move them out. And if you want to move things into the More, you can. I don't think I can show you if I click on You can't see my menu. So I can't really show, but you can look at your own. And then the multi-speaker view, also in meetings, you had the option to turn on a new multi-speaker, which highlights people who are actively speaking in the meeting. So you can go to views in the top right corner, and this is not when it's being shared, of the meeting, and to activate it in meetings with more than 5 participants. And there's some more things here about AI companion and collaborate easier during meetings. Before the meetings, you can attach pre-meeting materials and agendas and chat with attendees from the meeting card. No more hunting for your agenda before the meeting starts. And with Ask AI Companion, you'll soon be able to have help preparing for the meeting as well. I'm going to have to read about that and how to do that. During meetings, you can access, share, and collaborate on pre-attached materials or access documents from third-party apps, even if they're not attached to the meeting invite. To help make meetings collaboration across Zoom, Microsoft, and Google more seamless, we've introduced a new co-editing and permission management capabilities for Microsoft OneDrive and Google Drive. So there's a lot of new things in this Zoom workplace. Not all of it is part of the versions of Zoom that we use here, that we use at Tech for Seniors, or that probably your user group uses. But there still are a lot of choices, and they're in different places than they were. And let's see, Ron, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, Huey, I was wondering if anyone has done this, but when I was reading about this, it said that you can spotlight multiple people and in the Zoom meeting. And I thought that's a cool idea, and wonder if anyone's done that. Because when we start our meeting, we could spotlight you, me, Bob, and Ray, as 4 spotlighted people at one time rather than have to switch. And then the rest of the meetings in the background. And I haven't done it. I wondered if anyone has done that, or any thoughts about that.
Hang on, I'm trying to see if I can do it. Spotlight for everyone. If I do this, no, that took you off. View.
Apparently, you can spotlight. I don't know how many people it is, but you can
I
spotlight.
don't know whether I don't know whether
multiple people before when hosting a Zoom. I can't do it from here because I'm not hosting, but yeah.
Well, I think you can do it on your own. We can't do it for everybody, I don't think. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Under view, change the theme, hide self view, hide no. I'm looking at the choices and I see multi-speaker, and I've got that clicked. And let's see, but I'm spotlighting, and that's not the same thing. So let me turn this spotlight off. Now let's see, how do I do that?
I see, that is different.
Multi-speaker, but how do I indicate that?
Do we have to have more than one person speaking?
If you click on anybody and then, let me see,
there we go.
Yes, there you are.
The 3 dots.
Now, right now, I'm seeing Mike and Jolin. Is everybody seeing that?
No, I'm on Jolin I'm seeing Huey and Mike.
And I can either pin or spotlight for everyone. But I'm a co-host.
You're a co-host.
Right, I can only pin.
Yeah. But this isn't pinning. This isn't pinning.
No, and Mike, you can spotlight one person, but how do you spotlight 3 people?
Yeah, more than one.
There you go. You just started talking and you popped up. Now there's 3.
Yeah. Yeah, I see 3 of us. I see 3 of you, but I'm not in it. And now it's Mike is spotlighted. No, Mike must have hit that.
All right, now I added Jocelyn. I said add Jocelyn.
Now I can see
going to Ron Brown, and I'm adding a spotlight. So now I've got myself, Jocelyn, and Ron.
But that's not the same as what we're talking about.
Okay.
Yeah, it is actually. That's exactly what I want to do.
That's it.
I understand that.
You have to be the host. or co-host.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can spotlight more than one person, but the view is individual, I think, for multi-speaker. Now
I
I'm
can
seeing
see all
Stan in
four.
there now.
Yeah, but
I just
that
did
works.
that.
That's cool.
In
That works
Mike.
good.
That's exactly what
Yeah.
Ron was wanting.
And here is
Yeah.
Murray because he's speaking. And now he
Yeah.
disappeared.
Yeah, but everyone can see those 4 spotlights now.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I,
Yeah,
but
cool.
I, but
That-
I
that-
did it
that-
as a co-host, so
Yeah.
that makes,
What,
Yeah.
yeah, so
Exactly.
don't touch it.
I
Mike, and
won't
let's see
touch
what
it.
happens.
I
Now,
won't.
I don't see me, and I see Mike, Jolin, Ron, and Stan.
As
Right.
as Mike said it.
And I spotlighted those 4.
I don't
Right.
want you to
Spotlight
spotlight. I
Huey?
want
No,
you
I
to
did.
unspot.
I'm not doing anything now. I can take it
Okay.
off, I
So
suppose.
maybe there's only 4 that you can do. Maybe you can only have 4
I
spotlights. eh?
thought it was 5, but I'm going to turn the
But this is
multi-speaker off.
different than the multi-view.
Yes.
See
Good.
how.
Well, that's cool.
Speaker,
That's
excuse
cool.
me.
Okay, now on Jocelyn, I'm taking her off the spotlight.
Okay.
And now Stan, I am removing the spotlight.
And you.
Ron, I am removing the spotlight.
I want you
Okay.
to take the spotlight off of everybody.
Yeah, I have to do it one by one. So the only
Okay.
thing I've got now is me, and I don't know how
Yep,
I.
I see that.
But I also
Uh,
see both of you.
Yeah, I'm seeing more than one here too.
But I'm in the multi-speaker.
Oh, here we go. Remove spotlight. Let's see. How do I do it? There we go. I've removed.
Yeah.
Okay, I have no more spotlights now.
Yeah, I'm in multi-speaker as well, and I'm
Yep.
saying Mike, Jolin, and Ron.
I only see Mike and you.
And I don't
Okay.
see anybody. Nobody's spotlighted now.
But if you go to
There you are. There's Ron.
if you go to the view and click on multi-speaker,
What
you
we're
can
looking at.
indicate which ones you want. We can't do it for everybody.
Oh,
You
Yeah,
can
but
do
that's
it
not
for
going to
your
work.
own.
Yeah, but that's
I
not. That's
understand.
not.
It's what you want is spotlight.
Yeah, I
That's
want to
not
spotlight
yeah.
those people. But I guess that you can only do 4. Eh? That seems to be the maximum.
I don't know. Wait a minute. Hold on. Let me go. Who else can we throw in
Now
there?
the multi-view you can have, I think, 5 or more, maybe more.
I think
But
it may only be
spotlight, I
4.
think you can only do 4.
Yeah. Yeah. But that's
Good.
cool. All right, that's great. That we
Yeah.
got to use it on Monday. That'll be good. Yep, I like that.
Interesting. The
Okay.
the multi-speaker is interesting, huh? Because if you've
Yep.
got a couple of people speaking, you could actually set this up rather than have things switching back and forth as they do with one speaker view. You can actually see both people speaking at the same time. I mean,
Yeah.
having the conversation. That's really nice.
But
The
I
only
think
way
it's
to-
all.
The
But
speaker
But
view.
the host to control it has to do it with Spotlight. But you can do it on your
That's what.
screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Each individual can do it their own way
Right.
and have who they want on there.
Right.
Yeah, very nice.
Cool.
And there's some other if you're a host, which there's only a few of us, but there's host controls and a lot of the things that you would normally have to get out of the screen some way. There are things that show all participants for share screen, chat, rename themselves, unmute, so you can uncheck things right on the spot in the host tools. And then under more, you can move anything in and out of the more. Right now, my AI companion is in more, but I think I can just drag it out.
Yeah.
So that's new.
And reorder them so that you can,
Yep.
based on what you need to gain access to. That's good too.
But talking about pricing for your internet access, that's something you really want to check into. Now, I'm in an area where I use Frontier, and I have Frontier fiberglass, fiber optics.
Yeah.
And I just went to a gigabit service, and gigabit, that means up and down of 1,000 megabytes and megabits per second. I'm paying $59 a month to get that high speed bandwidth of a gigabit service, or some people are paying twice that just for the minimum. But the minimum has been raised, and now instead of 20, might be 40 or 120 megabits per second. And then I think Spectrum just raised their minimum to around 300. And that's about that's pretty close to what and they charge pretty close to what I'm paying. And that's not fiber, so that's down but not up. And so you want to look into fiber optics in your area. Ron just went to fiber optics in Vancouver. They just made it available, and he's cheaper than I am and faster than I am, or as fast.
You have to compare. So I don't think Frontier's available in Altamont Springs where I am. But the other issue this guy had is he was paying separately for every TV in his house. I think he had 4 TVs, and he had, a box for each one of them. And I told him that and he pays a monthly fee for each of those boxes. And I said, you can use Roku and use Wi-Fi. You don't need any boxes. You need a Roku for each one of your devices, each TV. Just use Wi-Fi, and that's worked beautifully for me.
And better than that, Stephen, if they have a TV that they bought in the last 3 or 4 years, it's probably a smart TV, and they don't even need the Roku box because it's built into the TV.
Except for one thing, the guy's hard of hearing. And he's hard of hearing. Yeah, I am getting that way myself. One thing about the little Roku box that you get, it has a little plug in the side of it for a headphone. And so you actually can plug in your headphone set, and the sound on the TV turns off, and you can control the sound, using your headset, which is a real benefit. Now, you can't do that on the smart TV. I have a Roku TV myself, and it doesn't, it has a remote, but you don't get that little earphone.
If you have a recent TV, you might want to check and see if it has Bluetooth. If it does, you can use a Bluetooth headset without a problem.
Oh, that's a good point. Yeah.
Ron, as a final comment, you have some important things to mention.
Just other than that, watch our Monday show. I'm talking this is the topic of our whole Monday show this coming up. So watch our show. As Huey was talking, I'm putting on the final touches to the presentation. So all those questions, Stephen, that you asked, we're going to talk about on Monday.
Okay, so
do you have the link for that?
Techforsenior.com.
Techforsenior.com.
Okay.
As a reminder, on my website, go to the homepage. Please support me by buying a cup of coffee or several cups of coffee so I can get a new computer. So please do that. And as a final, this has been the Central Florida Computer Society and the Sarasota Technology User Group, the WinSIG, or the Windows Special Interest Group, for Sunday, May 12th, 2024. I hope you learned something. We'll see you in a month. Don't forget Tech for Senior and Tech for Senior Live and Huey's Let's Talk AI on the 4th Friday of every month. We'll see you soon. Thank you.